Hello, my name is Dalton Everett, and this is my rhetorical analysis on the book Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. The speaker of Into Thin Air is Jon Krakauer. We know that Krakauer is a mountain climber and that he is retelling his story about surviving a catastrophic storm while climbing Mount Everest. Krakauer expresses that every day he had thoughts about the incident which drove him to retell the story to hopefully push past his past trauma. The reason for him writing this piece is to bring justice to it because he felt that his article in the magazine Outsider was too short to give all the details and give the story what it deserves. He also wrote to free himself of the thoughts of the incident. Krakauer is trying to reach other mountain explorers and anyone interested in climbing mountains. The reader knows this because he covers harshly about how dangerous it is on the mountain by explaining what happened to the people climbed up the mountain with. He talks about multiple people losing their limbs to frostbite, oxygen depletion, and the possibility of avalanches. For example, one of his crewmates ascended to the second campsite after being told not to, and got high-altitude pulmonary edema, otherwise known as HAPE, which is an illness that causes your lungs to fill with a fluid, and you start coughing up this pink fluid out of your lungs. It's like a mix of blood and stuff. The official definition by Swapnil J. Palikar, I probably butchered that name completely.
Swapnil J. Palikar. Swapnil J. Palikar.
On his article called High Altitude Pulmonary Edema Clinical Features, Pathophysiology, Prevention, and Treatment, is an illness that is caused by ascending too fast. From the article explaining what happens when you get HAPE, a cough worsens and the subject may get a debilitating degree of dysphonia even at rest. Orthopnea may occur, gurgling in the chest, and pink frothy sputum indicate advanced cases. The clinical features are cyanosis, tachypnea, and elevated body temperature, generally not exceeding 38.5 Celsius. Rails are discrete and initially located over the mild lung fields. C. The setting is Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, which stands at 8,848 meters or 29,029 feet in Nepal and China. The spark of Krakauer to write this was to try to move on from what happened to him all those years ago on Mount Everest. But even after writing this book, he still hasn't been able to move on from the incidents that happened up on the mountain. The events impacted Krakauer by him never being able to get over the events that happened, such as his crewmates dying and him fighting for his survival. The spark for Krakauer to write this was to try to move on from what happened to him on Mount Everest years after the events. But even after writing this book, he still hasn't been able to move on from the incidents on Everest. Krakauer makes the ridge of the mountain sound like another world rather than Earth. He expresses how calm and how the world beyond the river mask did not seem quite real. Another choice is the way he passionately talks about standing at the peak of the mountain and how it had been what he wanted to achieve ever since he was a child. He chooses to make the moment feel breathtaking even though he was slowly losing himself to oxygen depletion. This appeals to pathos because of the passion he uses while talking about it. He also chooses to use many statistics like dates and times, for example, and the certain lengths of things so we could put in perspective what time and how long stuff was and exactly what's happening. This appeals to logos because you're using statistics. The tone for most of the book is bleak and barren. Krakauer didn't use words of emotion for most of the book, gave us the bleak and horrific facts of what exactly happened to everyone. But when he quoted what others says, he would use dark and helpless words to show what happened on the mountain was like a terrifying and suffocating nightmare. Kind of felt like a box slowly closing in around you. For example, he explained what happened when his oxygen canister ran out while climbing a ridge. The imagery of him slowly losing control over his body makes the reader feel helpless, like they're slowly being closed in on by impending doom. I hope I gave you a little bit more of an interesting video rather than a boring essay to read, so hope you enjoyed.